My name is Tracy Manning. I'm 33 years old. It's been 3 years since I married my husband, John, who is a year older than me. We've struggled to have children, so we decided to start fertility treatments. It was during this challenging time that I discovered my husband's betrayal. What is the meaning of this? Were you both deceiving me? The notification on my husband's smartphone was how I learned of his betrayal. Yes, my husband was having an affair with my real sister, Katie. And that wasn't all. Actually, Katie is pregnant with my child now. So, I want a divorce. What? Katie was pregnant with my husband's child. Those were the last words I wanted to hear. You're kidding, right? Why would you do this? Sorry. I knew you were undergoing fertility treatments, but it just happened. It's still early in the pregnancy, so we don't know the gender yet. But here, this is my ultrasound. This image shows our child. Isn't it cute? The ultrasound photo Katie handed me showed a very small life. Looking at that photo, I trembled with anger. Don't joke about this. You never helped with the fertility treatments. To do something like this behind my back. It's too cruel. The joke's on you. What about me is joking? Normal women get pregnant without fertility treatments, like Katie did. And yet, you haven't gotten pregnant even once in 3 years of marriage. Fertility treatments aren't free, you know. All the tests and treatments. Do you have any idea how much of my money has gone into this? I never wanted to support that. What's so wrong about leaving a woman who can't get pregnant and going to another? Excuse me? Tracy, you've been overindulging because he works for a major company on the fast track to success, haven't you? What? I think marriage is about helping each other. But if you ask for too much, it becomes a burden, right? John told me, there's no rest even when I come home. Weren't you pushing him too hard with the fertility treatments? Honestly, I think his affair is your fault. As he said, you can't complain if he goes to another woman. You say I was pushing him. John has never. Katie is right. Being with you was painful for me. I want to be happy with my new family. I'll pay whatever it takes for compensation. Just sign these divorce papers and get out. Looking down on me with disdain, the two of them were too much to bear. However, holding on to this marriage wouldn't bring me happiness. Understood, I accept the divorce. With that, I signed the divorce papers, took the compensation, and left the house. That was about a year ago. After learning the truth, both of our parents were furious, of course. However, they eventually resigned themselves to accepting the two's marriage since Katie was already pregnant. Since then, I've cut ties with them and blocked all their contacts. I don't know where or what they are doing now. Then, one day, something happened. Hello? It's your sister. Are you doing well? A call came from an unknown number, and it was surprisingly my sister. Why would you go out of your way to contact me from an unknown number? I blocked you because I didn't want to communicate with you. What? Are you still angry? Don't sulk forever, just come and celebrate with your sister. Celebrate? Actually, the child that was in my stomach back then was just born. That's why I want you to come and see. Why should I? This child is genuinely your niece, isn't she? Sure, we've had our differences. But forget about the past and come see your cute niece. Despite everything, my sister brazenly invited me to meet my niece. She probably wants to show off that she has everything I ever wanted. Normally, I wouldn't accept such an invitation from her. However, after some thought, I decided to accept her invitation. All right. I've had something I wanted to tell you too, so this is perfect. When should I visit? Oh, then, how about next Saturday? Next Saturday, then. I'll bring a gift when I come. Okay. My sister seemed a bit surprised that I accepted her invitation. But she didn't ask why. However, she would soon deeply regret inviting me home just to show off. And just like that, the promised day arrived. Welcome. My sister greeted me with a beaming smile as she came out of the house I once lived in, holding her newborn niece, who was sleeping peacefully in her arms. The milk just finished. Come on in. The first thing I saw when I entered was my ex-husband, whom I hadn't seen in about a year. His disdainful look hadn't changed. It's been a while, Tracy. Have you been well? We've been really busy every day since the child was born. But we're truly happy. I know it must be tough being alone. But I really appreciate that you accepted the divorce. Thanks. That's a bit much. It would be sad for Tracy, who is single now, wouldn't it? She even came today, enduring the hardship. The two of them mocked me as they spoke. By the way, what's the gift you mentioned on the phone? Is it inside that paper bag you're holding? Since having a child, I've realized how expensive it is to raise one. My husband works for a major company, so we still have some leeway. I think you should be prepared too. Well, unless you get the chance, considering your divorce was due to infertility. That's when it happened. The doorbell echoed throughout the room. There weren't supposed to be any other visitors. My sister, puzzled, opened the front door. And standing there was. Excuse me, I think my wife might be here already. Huh? This is my husband. What? Yes, the person who arrived was my husband. Both my ex-husband and my sister were shocked by this fact. I came by car, but couldn't find a parking spot, so I dropped off alone first. Did you find a parking spot? Yes, someone nearby showed me where to park. That's good. Wait a minute. You got married? Yes. When? About 3 months ago. Why didn't you tell me? Why would I? After what happened, we cut ties. I didn't think I'd need to tell you. And I never thought I'd be invited here. But why would such a tall, handsome man be with someone like you? Where did you meet? Well, that's a story for later. Can we come in for now? We haven't seen each other in a while, so there must be a lot to catch up on. Right. And so, we were led into the living room again. Wow, nice living room. It's fresh compared to ours. Is that so? Yes, our living room is combined with the dining area. Hearing this, my ex-husband smirked unpleasantly and said, living and dining together means it's not a very big house. Stunned that I was married, my ex-husband seized the opportunity to assert dominance. And he continued to try to one-up us by saying, as you might have heard from her, we used to be married. This house was bought during that time. Well, there were some stretches. But I think I'm the only one in our age group who owns a house this big. Is that so? It's indeed a big house. You seem quite young and very successful. Yes. Well, do you know Company A? Everyone knows this major corporation. I work there. But I just handed in my resignation. Actually, I've secured a job at Company B, which is even bigger than A. Originally, Company B is a stable, large corporation. But it's been growing a lot recently, so I decided to join the wave. I actually start working there next month, but anticipating a salary increase. I bought a new apartment in the city. I'm planning to move the week after next. So, if you like, shall we sell this house? I hate to say it, but it seems like you're not living very well. She's my ex-wife, and I think there's some kind of fate in this, so don't hesitate. Right? It's okay, isn't it, Katie? That sounds fine. But, isn't it a bother to sell such a house to someone who isn't living well? Well, that's true. By the way, what do you do for work? Ah, it's nothing significant. Did it become hard to say after I mentioned my job change to Company B? Don't hold back. I'm not expecting much. My ex-husband said this and laughed crudely. Is that so? Then I'll speak without hesitation. Excuse me? I came here today because there's something I need to tell you. What is that about? Don't you remember me? We've met once before. My ex-husband pondered. Since you don't seem to remember, let me introduce myself. I am Robert, the executive director at Company B. What? Yes, my husband is the executive director of Company B, the company to which he planned to transfer. Looking at the business card my husband presented, my ex-husband and sister turned pale and were at a loss for words. Why would the executive director? Normally, I would notify you by phone or in writing, but I heard about it from my wife. I decided to come here with her. Notification about what? Then, my husband told him. Mr. Manning, I regret to inform you that we have decided to rescind your job offer. A job offer cancellation. Why? Do you have any idea why this might be happening? I have no clue. I've lived my life earnestly and have always been diligent at work. I believe I was highly regarded at Company A, respected by both my superiors and subordinates. I can't imagine why you would suddenly cancel my job offer. Ignoring my ex-husband's confusion, my husband gave me a knowing look. I took the cue and pulled out a document from the paper bag I had brought and handed it to my husband. What is that document? This document contains the reasons for the cancellation of your job offer. Before you read it, are you sure you have no idea why your offer might be rescinded? I think not. All right. Please read through this document. Handing over the document, my husband watched as my ex-husband hesitantly began to read. Gradually, his face turned ashen. Why, how could this be? We received reports from our employees about an account leaking information about companies A and B on social media. This account also posted confidential information only someone from Company A would know, as well as vulgar remarks about female employees and other indecent content. The account listed in this document, it's yours, isn't it? His job offer from Company B was cancelled because of the content he had posted on social media weeks ago. What? Information about our company is being posted on social media? After receiving this report from a Company B employee, my husband immediately checked the social media, and there unbelievable posts were made. Finally got the job offer from Company B. Time to say goodbye to Company A. Some still doubt I work at Company A, so I'll show them the project plan. I designed all these products. You guys must have bought them too. Here's the department head's pay slip. Found it in the hallway, so I'm sharing it. Here's a photo of the women's changing room. Since I'm quitting, it's probably past the statute of limitations, right? Honestly, the interview at Company B was a breeze. Looks like I'll be able to climb the ladder easily. If anyone's curious, Once I join Company B, I'll post their info too. It seems there were numerous other posts including degrading actions towards female employees of Company A and derogatory comments about women. Too appalling to mention here. Shocked by the extent of the misconduct, my husband reported it immediately to the CEO. The CEO then ordered an investigation to find out who made these posts. It turned out that the person who had posted them was him, who had just secured a position at Company B. Subsequently, the senior management was summoned for a meeting. The topic was, naturally, about Mr. Manning's job offer. We hadn't yet posted much about Company B since he hadn't actually started working with us, but there was significant posting about Company A. Employee salary details and images from a women's changing room he had sneaked into. Even actual project plans he was working on. Moreover, these were not posted on a private social media account, but on one accessible to the public. The spread of these posts was substantial enough to be considered malicious. And for these valid reasons, the decision was made to rescind the job offer. Hearing this, my ex-husband and sister were pale and speechless, mouths agape. As I mentioned earlier, this is usually communicated by phone or in writing, but my wife suggested a proposal. Yes, Mrs. Manning suggested we come to your house since she was invited. So we came together. Indeed, the reason I accepted my estranged sister's invitation was that I had heard about the cancellation of my ex-husband's job offer from him. So, you found out who was leaking information to Company B. It appears to be someone who had received a mid-career job offer from us. This person had also been leaking confidential information from their previous employer, Company A, and honestly, it seemed pretty serious. So, the person in this document is the culprit? Let me see. Yes. The document contained a familiar name. Wait a minute. John Manning, is it? Could this be this person? I showed a photo of my ex-husband that was still on my phone to him. Why do you have his photo? Well, I don't know how to put this, but he's my ex-husband. We divorced a year ago after I caught him cheating with my real sister. What? Thus, it was confirmed that the perpetrator who had been leaking information to Company B was my ex-husband. A few days later, by some coincidence, my sister invited me to their house. Truly, I was shocked. I got the call just a few days after hearing such a story from my husband. I had no intention of going initially, but I accepted the invitation thinking it might create a chance for them to talk. But it turned out to be a great decision. Desperate to assert dominance by inviting me to her home, my sister ended up embarrassingly exposing her own disgrace in front of me. And couldn't say a word, just looking down in silence. So, do you understand the reason for the cancellation of the job offer? I understand. But it's different. Excuse me? It wasn't meant to be taken that way. It was just a joke. I was egged on by my followers, and I posted it in the heat of the moment. There was no deep meaning behind it. Mr. Manning, that is precisely why your job offer was rescinded. It was just for fun, just a joke. There was no deep meaning behind posting it. The casualness with which you broadcast confidential information about the company to the world is unacceptable. We cannot employ someone who might casually leak our confidential information in the future. If this were an already employed staff member, they would be fired. Do you understand? That is, the posts were discovered a few days ago. We took immediate action. This account should already be frozen. Didn't you think something was odd at that point? I thought someone who was offended by the posts might have reported them. I had no idea that Company B was aware of the posts. I hadn't imagined. Is that so? But we were not the only ones who took action. Huh? Afterwards, we naturally informed Company A as well. They suffered more damage than us, after all. Such a thing. About Company A. They were furious. I'm not sure about the details. But I think they'll file a police report and claim for damages. You should expect to receive some kind of communication. So please handle that on your end. Hearing the words police report and damages, my ex-husband turned even paler, then said, I know this is a brazen request. But, could you possibly reconsider the cancellation of the job offer? It would really put me in a difficult position if my job offer from Company B is rescinded. Difficult? Yes. As I mentioned earlier, I got carried away when I received the job offer from Company B and prematurely bought a new apartment in the city. So if the job offer is rescinded, I won't be able to pay for the moving expenses or the mortgage, and I'll be out on the street. I'll accept anything but the job offer being rescinded. So, please, I'm begging you, too. As you can see, we have a newborn daughter. We could manage somehow on our own. But if things continue this way, our daughter will suffer too. So please, forgive him for what he did, please. The two of them said this and begged forgiveness. However, reality isn't so lenient. My husband gave them a sharp look and said, Truly a brazen request. You can't pay for the new house's mortgage if the job offer is cancelled? You and your child will end up on the street? Is that our concern as employees of Company B? So, that is. You know it's brazen, so please don't make such requests. Even if you beg me, there's nothing I can do. This decision was made by the entirety of Company B. You've brought this upon yourself, so please just accept it. That's all I can say. A sound argument that left no room for rebuttal. I thought this would make him recognize his fault and give up. However, his actions far exceeded my expectations. So that's it. I see your plan. Tracy, this was your goal? You got involved with the executive director of Company B to get back at us for betraying you. What are you talking about? You were jealous of my fast-tracked career and plotted to ruin me by finding my weakness. That's right. Incredibly, he started accusing me of getting involved with him and trying to sabotage his life because I was spiteful about being betrayed. That's ridiculous? What misunderstanding is this? No, there can't be any misunderstanding. It must be true. Seeing him like this, my sister also said. Now that you mention it, it does seem odd. After all, Tracy divorced about a year ago, right? And now she's already remarried? That's suspicious. She started attacking me. You accused us of having an affair, but were you having one yourself? That's not the case. Yeah, right. They say women are better liars than men. Women really do filthy things. All my social media followers say it, too. Women are not to be trusted. Look at her, acting all innocent. This hypocrite. Driven to desperation by being told he couldn't be hired by my husband, he resorted to insulting me. However, my husband didn't remain silent. Hypocrite? Isn't that what you are? What? I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but please don't equate your relationship with ours. What are you saying? We met after she divorced you. I was invited to a drinking party by a friend, where I met Tracy. I later found out that the party was organized by the friend to cheer Tracy up after her terrible breakup with you. There, we clicked. And soon after, we started dating. And so, we quickly decided to get married. That's why our relationship isn't shameful like yours. What? He's right. If you calm down and think about it, you'll see the contradictions in what you're saying. Me, approach him to get revenge on you? I only found out you had a job offer from Company B recently. So, how does it turn out that I approached him to get revenge on you? If I had approached someone related to Company A, maybe, but your accusations are baseless. So, that is, can you stop projecting your guilty conscience onto everything? Our sharp rebuttal silenced my ex-husband. Seeing his reaction, we decided there was nothing more to discuss and began to leave. However, don't joke. Doing this as revenge against us? I will never forgive this. Enjoy it while you can. Be prepared. As we were leaving, my sister hurled these harsh words at our backs. Hearing her outburst, I turned around, smiled at her, and said, "Isn't it you who should be feeling good? It seems like a certain secret hasn't been uncovered yet. Lucky he's so oblivious. What are you suddenly talking about? What do you mean? Don't you know very well what I'm talking about? What's wrong? Why the pale face? And what secret are you talking about? Hey, remember? Back when we were still married. When we first started fertility treatments. You also had tests done at the hospital, right? What does that have to do with anything now? Why bring up fertility treatments here? It is indeed a bit late, but it's an important issue. For you. What? Aren't you curious about those test results? You acted as if the results had nothing to do with you, didn't bother to listen. Since then, you've assumed infertility was a woman's fault. You never doubted that it was you who was infertile. What are you talking about? The doctor clearly said. The cause of the infertility was not me, but you. That having children would be nearly a miracle. What? I'm the cause of the infertility. That's impossible, that's ridiculous. Because infertility is supposed to be a woman's issue. Indeed, many people mistakenly think all infertility issues are caused by women. But just as often, men can be the cause. Not all infertility issues are due to women. But I have a daughter. If what you're saying is true, my daughter is. That's just nonsense, right? You're just jealous and making this up because you couldn't get pregnant. Who said I couldn't get pregnant? Actually, I'm pregnant right now. What? It's still early, so we don't know the gender yet, but here, this is my ultrasound. This image is of our child. Isn't it cute? The familiar scenario left them both pale and speechless. Well, they never said it was impossible to conceive, maybe a miracle happened. So, why all the insinuations? Why? Maybe you should ask your sweating wife next to you about who the father of the child is. That's. Tracy, are you implying my daughter isn't mine? If it turned out to be true, hiding it forever would be difficult, wouldn't it? Maybe you can't tell now, since she's just been born. But don't you think you'll start to feel something is off as she grows? Especially since they say daughters often resemble their fathers. My words left the two of them frozen. Well, we'll be leaving now. Thank you for having us today. It was nice to see you after such a long time. Take care. With that, we left. It goes without saying that the moment we stepped out of the house, the sound of their yelling could be heard from inside. Several weeks later, I received a call from an unknown number. Hello. Tracy. It's me. As expected, it was my ex-husband. What do you want? I'm busy, you know. After that, I couldn't stop thinking about what you said. And got a DNA test done for my daughter. And it turns out she isn't my child. We're not related by blood. Is that so? And when I confronted her about it, she confessed. She was trying to trap me, someone working at a big corporation, by getting pregnant. But she couldn't conceive, and ended up pregnant with another man's child she was seeing at the time. I was aware of my sister's scheme and that it would eventually come to this. The job offer was rescinded. I had to sell the new house. Plus, the daughter isn't related by blood, and I've divorced her. My parents have cut ties with me because of everything that happened with you. I've lost everything in this past year. All I have left is debt. This must be the punishment for betraying you, Tracy. What should I do now? My ex-husband was probably expecting me to console him. But I chose not to meet his expectations. That's right. What? Exactly. This outcome is all your own doing. A punishment for acting only in your own self-interest. To think you'd expect consolation from me, that's pretty brazen. Accept your fate and live with it. Goodbye. Wait a minute, hey. According to what I later heard from our parents, my sister returned to our family home with her child, but my father, deeming her behavior too audacious, turned her away. With nowhere left to go, she tried to turn to the child's father. But that didn't work out either. She's probably leading a life far removed from the one she had imagined, struggling alone.